All right. Welcome to Real Fridays. Hey, Maya.
Hello, Brock. Happy to be here. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday indeed. Crazy day around the world with all the outages, but I think we're gonna get some of the other guys to hop on as well. Yeah, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Mexico City. Yeah,
Nice.
in the country of Mexico. Just saying that because I get asked that a lot. They're like, Mexico? Yes.
Yeah, I feel like every state has a few of those like country name towns. In Maine, we have a bunch. There's like a China Maine. There's a Mexico Maine, I think.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Hey,
Next time I'm gonna say Maine. I'm gonna be like, no, Mexico Maine.
I'm pretty sure there's one. There's definitely a China Maine. I've been there.
Nice.
Let's see if we can get Jeremy up here. Hey, Potter.
There he is.
Just needed to get the audio right. I always feel as though I have the timing right.
Yeah. Well, we picked the easiest possible time for all of us at 12:30 every Friday. Yeah. So we get you in the car every week.
In a moving vehicle as well. That's fun.
I would say half the weeks for sure. I'm not driving, so everyone knows that's the safety first. But it's great to see you again. I'm really glad to be able to chat with you today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will point out a little bit, but for everyone that doesn't know Zavvie, since in our announcement, one of the first line items was "What the heck is Zavvie?" Maya, why don't you give us a little bit of an intro on what you're doing in the market today, what you've been working on lately at Zavvie?
Yeah, for sure. So what is Zavvie? A startup with a lot of consonants in the name. No, so Zavvie started as aggregating alternative financing solutions. So we have two kind of components of the business I see today. We're still doing that. We started with iBuyers, comparing iBuyer offers, then added power buyers or cash solutions, rent-to-own solutions, renovation solutions, kind of anything that's alternative to buying a home normally with a loan or alternative to listing. And we packaged that all together. We have now it's powered by AI, of course, a tech platform that compares everything. And what we've really been doing behind the scenes is kind of looking at what those alternative financing solutions are in the market as they come up and really discerning for mortgage companies what is going to make an impact strategically when it comes to revenue to fold into their business model. And so with all of those, we were looking at everything, and the power buying or the cash solutions have been the ones that have made the biggest difference when mortgage companies integrate that into their product suite. And so we also have a white labeled power buyer in a box, cash solution in a box that we license to mortgage companies now, which is our main focus, and the tool and the AI works behind to make that happen really quickly. But essentially what it does is make most buyers into cash buyers and help loan officers have something to go out as a sales tool with, and becomes really sticky when they can convert more loans with that.
Nice. Yeah, I know there's been a few kind of pivots in there over the years. But Jeremy probably already knows this, but when I was at EasyKnock a couple of years ago, that's how Maya and I first met each other. We were one of the many options on the Zavvie platform, and it was really good business for EasyKnock at the time.
Hey, Mike, can you talk a little bit about cash as the preeminent incentive for sellers and sellers agents? Like, why is a cash liquidity option for loan officers and buyers considered, or in your opinion, better than the lender's money?
Yeah, great question. So it's really helpful in competitive solutions, right? So when you've got multiple offers happening, sellers like cash. There's also, so I think, a lot of people think like multiple offers. Yes, cash works great. I think when it also works really well is the people who are buying and selling at the same time. And a really big factor in that is convenience, right? To be able to secure that next home without having to, live with your in-laws in between or put all your stuff in storage or whatever that looks like, and the stress and just the overall convenience that having a cash solution on the front end allows you to do And what I get really excited about with that is there's kind of like this daisy chain I look at when you've got all these move-up buyers leaving their existing residences. You can have first-time buyers, you go all the way down the chain. You first-time buyers have more opportunity then, which I get really excited about. But at the end of the day, it's about liquidity. And what I really like about the cash solutions is that, especially ones like ours, is it brings liquidity into the equation, but it also keeps the real estate transaction the same, right? So for the loan officer, they're going to still end up closing a loan. We're just the cash up front. So that's great. They get a deal. They get paid their commission. Same thing for the agents. And we allow the listing agent to do their thing for that to look the exact same with the client, do what the market's going to do. And so I like that piece of it too.
And you charge, you primarily monetize by charging like a transaction fee to the client, right? Like separate of the lending transaction, separate of the real estate transaction.
Yep, exactly.
Obviously, there's probably different structures with how you build partnerships with different parties as well. But basically, you guys, just have a service for a fee for consumers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's really a tried and true theme too, which is I'll do the top line theme and then talk about sort of its modern iteration. But like, people pay for convenience. We've always done that. And we do that across like all parts of our lives. Why would our financial lives, our real estate lives, be any different? I think the one interesting thing that you mentioned though, is now we're talking partly about convenience, right? Speed and convenience for sure, but it actually levels the playing field. So now we're saying, hey, it is convenient for everybody to have that level of understanding, but also you don't get to discriminate against me because I'm a lending offer. And further, you as a seller don't get to discriminate what type of lending offer. Because that's the other thing that drives me nuts is it's not even just like that it's, big lender money versus local lender money coming to the table. We've got a history, years, decades of sellers being like, well, FHA money is different than Fannie Freddie money. Meanwhile, it's all coming from the bank. It's all coming from Rocket Mortgage or Fairway or Cross Country or wherever, wherever. And so I love being able to, being able to really focus on, hey, you can't discriminate against me anymore. Someday that will be so fluid and so trusted, like, that liquidity piece would be like, oh, it's coming from wherever. Great, done. Like, I don't even need to look at it because I actually trust it. We just have to get there. Lower those fees. That's great. Cool.
I agree. Yeah, I also like, in terms of the settlement, everything happening with, agent commissions. I think it's important for sellers, agents. A lot of our clients use this, going to an open house and saying, okay, great, agent, all of your buyers I can make into cash buyers. So the seller's happy, the agent's happy, you're proving value on both ends. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. We primarily work with loan officers, but on the agent side as well.
So let's say I'm running a team of loan officers or I'm running an entire mortgage company. What's like the threshold question you usually get or the threshold decision that a mortgage company has to make to engage with you? Is it a data question? Is it a workflow process question? Because like you've just made a great case for the value add, perception to the referral sources. But what's the key thing I got to know or do or understand to kick off the option?
Yeah, good question. I think a lot of the questions I get are around what this looks like in terms of risk for the mortgage company, right? You guys have been in mortgage long enough to know the compliance risk situation is extremely important. And so I love that question because my answer is Zavvie's taking all of the risk, which I think is nice because you'll see, and you've seen probably, a lot of large mortgage companies are advertising cash. A lot of the times it's Zavvie behind the scenes, whatever they're doing, consumer facing or whatever, because it's white labeled. And so it looks like their brand, it looks like their product, their loan officers are selling it as their in-house product. And then we're just behind the scenes doing what we do, running the operations. But yeah, I would say that's definitely a big concern, and as it should be. But it's a lot of the reason that I tell mortgage companies, you probably shouldn't do this on your own, let us do it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. You guys share a lot of I think the same philosophy that is kind of why Audie and Todd and the guys that originally started NewsApp, and then as I've been building it for the last couple of years on the growth side, where you guys are pretty much firmly doing this as B2B, right? You're not getting a lot of you're not really chasing around consumers directly. You're trying to fit into existing industry transactions for the most part, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why too, and I think the important piece and why I started with the origin of our story there, not only to highlight where our friendship started, Brock, but is that is the most important part. But secondly, when we were aggregating and looking at all those companies and aggregating their offers, we were intimately looking behind the scenes at what they were doing, right? And so we had the benefit of building our own product based on, and all of those companies, friends with all of those guys and gals, and we were able to kind of pick and choose and build our own product by noticing what worked and what didn't work. So a lot of that was research, learning in the development phase. And then when the market shifted in 2022 and there was an opening, I think we're kind of the last one standing of like that first cohort of power buyer cash buyers. There's like a new cohort of kind of different types of bridge loads and stuff coming up, which I think is awesome too. But I like that we had that advantage.
No, that's been a really tough business. I mean, my last day at Easy Knock, which is still doing great, still building a great business over there. But it was the day that they closed on the Ribbon acquisition. Ribbon was kind of the one that, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but was the first one I was familiar with. Way back when Jeremy and I were working together on innovation at Rocket, we started looking at that model internally and started hearing about ones like Ribbon. So it's been, we've been thinking about it for probably not quite as long as you, Maya, but it's been on our radar for a super long time, Jeremy. When did we start looking at that stuff? 2018, 19?
Yeah, because I was going to say, because actually probably like 2017, because definitely Ribbon, I thought was the first one in market with agents actually putting money on the table. Open Door was very similarly timed, but sort of had that bigger like enterprise layer. They weren't really B2B, right? They were the enterprise layer going right to the consumer, saying here are your options.
Didn't work so well,
Well, also, Maya, it's such a great point, because one of the things I've been really thinking about a lot lately is, were they wrong or were they early? In other words,
I love that conversation.
Where do we see? Because one of the things that really is interesting to me about your business is toolkits. Like real estate it's a toolkit industry, or at least it should be. And we have way too many one size fits all structures and platforms and software, and everybody's trying to shoehorn their lead or their customer or their transaction into a one size fits all. And you're saying, no, that's not how you have to look at it. You have to have this combination of options for this use case and this combination of options, and we let you pick within your use case. And that's not frequently available to loan officers or consumers. So I think that this idea of being like, we were early, the industry of, people thinking this way, we're kind of early 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Now maybe is a better time. I don't know if you have a reaction to that or if that resonates with you, but that's kind of where I've been thinking a lot about.
I think it's both. And I know it's kind of a cop-out, but I think it's both. And I think there's a little bit where they went wrong. And from a marketing, a lot of my background is in PR marketing. And so looking at it from that perspective, I think that part was not so great. I think, they learned a lot, and I, again, respect and know the guys Open Door super well. I think that, they did some learning there and readjusted. But I think that, and one of the reasons when I was looking at coming to work for Zavvie, looking at the real estate space, I think it's really interesting that, yes, we're a tech company and a startup, but our founders have been in real estate and have been operators in real estate. And I think especially looking at AI, I think it gets a little bit dicey when you come in not having a ton of real estate experience, a lot of tech experience, get excited, get some startup funding, and just try to disrupt everything. I think I've learned a lot in the last 5 years. I think there's like an anti-disruption play that tends to work better, of like, we're going to work with you. And the reason why is because it works, right? People want to work with their loan officer. They want to work with their agent. Data shows that. And so that's what I was saying at the beginning. I think, one of the reasons that I like what we do is that it puts the information in the loan officer's hand so they can look like the expert that they are and go, here are all of your options for buying. Sometimes cash is going to be your best option, sometimes not, but let's diversify. And I get excited about even more alternative financing options coming to market that I will be excited to integrate hopefully next year.
I was going to say, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Go ahead, Rebecca. Go ahead. You're good.
All right. I was just going to say, so when you think about growth at Zavvie now, looking forward a little bit, Is it more, obviously, you know, signing more lenders is always going to be a good thing. So having more partners is always going to be a good thing. But is it more like you guys have offers that you want to get in all corners of the market already, or that you want to, you know, keep broadening the menu? Like what's the, obviously both, I'm sure, but like which one's kind of more exciting right now?
I think the platform that we're building for all options, I think, is really exciting. We've got some awesome proprietary AI behind what I call the decision maker. And so essentially kind of, you know, to what you were talking about, Jeremy, it's like eventually the loan officer will be able to upload, hopefully, you know, just from their CRM, some information about the client. It's going to take them down this path of, this is probably their best option for buying. Here's how you present it. Here are the 3 other options that might be, you know, second, third, and fourth, and the reasons why, and just making the loan officer super smart. Because I think that's a hard thing too. You know, loan officers and agents have so much to keep up with. There's so much out there. I've been doing this for 5 years. There's still so much that I'm learning. And so I get really excited about that piece. And the reason why is because the end consumer needs help out there, right? It's tough. Homeownership accessibility is the lowest it's ever been. Our actual mission at Zavvie is to improve homeownership or give more access to it across the country. So I get excited about when that is consumer facing too. And then eventually, you know, that can be through the loan officer. Consumers are able to look at all their options.
Yeah, I mean, I like when you build software that way, when you build the experience that way. You know, we learned at Rocket, you build something for the consumer, you can give it to mortgage brokers. You build something for mortgage brokers and consumers, you can give it to real estate agents. It doesn't have to be this kind of like one-dimensional channel specific build or channel specific thing. Like the fundamental idea is the same. We've got data, we got a problem we're solving, what's the best fit? And obviously artificial intelligence is a great application to help kind of process a bunch of those variables quickly. But the reality is, like, here's the situation. How do we customize the best series of options for that customized data? And, you know, I'm always talking about more personalization and customization.
Absolutely.
Then you can hand that to whomever. You can hand that just to the best person to solve the problem.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's exactly what we see. And what's nice is, you know, we're building it primarily for the power buying model. And what we do every day is say, is this applicable to other options? And the answer is yes. It can be, you know, some of these, you know, co-investing, co-ownership things. It can be, you know, some of these newer kind of rent-to-own solutions like Divvy Landis that I see starting to trickle back in, which is exciting too. So
I've been really bullish. I've been really bullish on shared equity, shared appreciation. I like co-ownership as like a better way of saying that. I've been thinking about different ways to make it a little bit more palatable to kind of communicate what exactly is going on here. But I think, you know, one of the things that plays really well into your future framing, the way you just said it, is, you know, and Brock's heard me say this 1,000 times, there are no starter homes left.
Yeah.
So what you actually have is you have your credit availability. So I may have $280,000, $320,000, $400,000 of credit availability in my market. And I may want to buy a home where I just own that availability of credit. I own the appreciation of $400,000. And that's what I'm approved for Fannie and Freddie. That's what I want to earn. And if I find a partner or a platform that's willing to take the rest of that on, game on. Now I have equity. Yep. Now I'm in the home. Now I'm in the market, and I'm actually accruing something. So I think there's a lot of fear out there on the regulatory side. Some, you know, we want to be careful because in the past consumers have been taken advantage of with different things like that. And I think one of the things technology offers are guardrails, right? Like more than ever, technology is monitoring, does this make sense for this data? Does this make sense for this geography or this timeline or whatever? So I think we can put some really good guardrails in place, but I really like that you mentioned co-ownership because I think that's a cool application of what's next.
Yeah, I like that lens. And yeah, that's interesting because I think about that as like risk assessment, that last piece you were talking about guardrails. And the biggest thing that I think we watched, the biggest hurdle for a lot of these startups in the alt finance space is assessing risk. It's really hard to do. And that's why a lot of them, you know, were unable to operate at when something happened with rates or, you know, capital. And so I think that's a huge part of our model, is building that into the program so that it's assessing risk, underwriting both properties as much as we can, and just all of that data is then, like you said, applicable to a bunch of different solutions. And yeah, I think with co-ownership, it's interesting because I just know, anecdotally, a bunch of people, when rates changed, having to do that just personally. Like I bought a house with my brother, or like my parents, you know what I mean? So it's been proven. And I think you're right. It's just about getting those guardrails up and making people comfortable about what that looks like.
One of the things that the GSEs do allow is gifts. And so my point has been, we need these companies because they are the gift for people who don't have families. So like it's like a fairness play when you don't have an uncle, you don't have a grandpa, you don't have parents giving you a down payment. You need somebody to do that to get in the game. Otherwise, it's another 10 years and you're still not getting any equity in the market. So better to get in, get something, get going. And then that's my take, at least.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think I can't remember what the stat is, but it's like, I think it's 50x something like that on wealth over time, homeowners versus non-homeowners. It's like probably higher than that now. It's staggering. So anything that we can do to adjust that to help people get into that second category, I think is super important.
Yeah, we had Sky from the CEO or founder of on here a couple of weeks ago, and I believe Jeremy works with them on a couple of things as a consultant or advisor of some sort. So he probably knows a million times more than me. But I really like some of those concepts. NewZip also in the past had a partnership with Divvy that hopefully we can dust off in the future. And some of these other companies, Landis, I've met with plenty of times. Like I really like some of those concepts too, where like a lot of these like phase one, even like the pure play power buyer product. It was like it made people more competitive. Super important, especially in 2019, 2020, 2021 maybe. Now competition is, there's a lot of inventory sitting. That's a lot of the wrong inventory is sitting. I understand it's still competitive for starter homes if those exist. But I think it gets really, really exciting for people that couldn't do a transaction at all. And now there's a new structure that they can. Obviously, there's always going to be people trying to find new edges to get competitive, but if you take someone that couldn't transact at all and now they can be a homeowner or a home seller and a home buyer because of the structure with their existing home, or for seniors that are trying to figure out whether they need to do a bunch of updates to age in place or whether they need to move. Like it would just would be a lot of fun to see the menu of options brought in and those kind of things.
Yeah, I think it's like a spectrum. And what I used to talk about with this, Divvy and Landis are both great companies. Same. I hope to dust off those partnerships soon. But I think it's like the mortgage off ramp, I like to call it, right? So if mortgage is not happening right now and homeownership is not happening right now, there's like this nice off ramp where you can get back on at some point. And I think you'll have having the whole spectrum is super important, all the way down to reverse mortgages and having something on that end that's super helpful, non-predatory, all those things. I think is super fun to think about.
Yeah, some of my favorite deals I ever worked on, like in the mortgage industry, were some of the deals at EasyKnock for people that had existing homes, but they wanted to do something really unique with that money. Like we had people that wanted to start businesses with that money, people that wanted to, buy, that wanted to invest in their, brother-in-law's company that really needed capital that, turned into something like whether it was investment, pure play, whether it was a lifestyle thing, pay for hospital bills. There were some really cool examples of, hey, I want to own my home again in literally like a year or less. But like it's so hard to get the money out right now at scale unless you have pristine credit and even so there's still a lot of options. So I think I've talked about that on here before, Jeremy, but like that was some of the deals that I was like really hands-on with occasionally because they were so unique. And it was really cool to see like people trying to figure those things out. And that was including lenders and real estate agents and prop tech providers, like all trying to figure those things out. So I think there's fertile ground to do a lot more of those kind of deals. whether it's existing owners, whether it's people that can't buy today, getting, rewards towards buying or equity share towards buying, or slowly being able to actually buy because it becomes more fluid between renting and owning. All those concepts are really interesting. So it's cool it must be a lot of fun to be, in the middle of it, creating. I didn't even know that you guys were so deep into the advice on which one to choose. I figured it was a little more like just arming LOs and then they sell whichever one, but it takes it a lot further if you can give both the consumer and the loan officer that kind of advice. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's the biggest piece that we're building right now for that reason. And the reason why is honestly it's speed, right? The quicker that we can get all this figured out, the quicker everyone gets paid, the quicker the new homeowner is in their house. I think it's mostly, when I think about the benefit, I'm like, everybody is incented to get this done as quick as possible. And that's really what the software allows it to do. And just becomes more important the more choices, the more options that are out there. Just in our cash product suite, we have 6 different products. So just with that, starting there and then branching out.
What's the number one seller right now? Is it first time home buyers trying to get the more competitive bid, trying to get the cash like offer? Or
good question. It's so market dependent. But I would say right now still, I divide them into 2 categories. We have cash buy before sell, which is someone that, as the name indicates, is buying and selling at the same time, an alternative to a bridge loan. And then we have just cash buy, which is a lot of the first time buyers or folks just entering the market. And so the scale is still, there's definitely more still buy before sell, but cash buy has been steadily increasing all year, which a lot of those are first time buyers, which is super exciting for us. We just did one of the stories was in our press release that went out this week was about someone in the Los Angeles market who had put in, I think, 9 offers, lost all of them in the, whatever the starter home market is in LA, very high price point, as you can imagine, and lost all of them, used our cash, won the 10th one. And so that's something like that she was just wanting to be a homeowner for so long, was doing everything she thought she could. Her loan officer brought in our product and that was what they needed to get under contract. Those are what gets me up in the morning and gets me really excited. So I love to see that we're trending, helping more. And like I said, I think it's cool to watch the daisy chain of, people moving up or leaving other homes unoccupied, which leaves more opportunity too. But yeah, our most common one is the one where we give the capital up front, purchase their new home for them. They buy it back from us once they sell their old home like normal with the agent. And they pay us a certain percentage from 1 to 1.9%, depending. And then they can move in right away. We own the home first. They just buy it back from us for the LO. They're just doing a purchase loan. Looks the same as it would normally. We're just the seller instead of who was before.
Well, this is great. This conversation, I think, is right on point. It's timely. I think this is like really the future of where technology can help customize. I'm going to pull a Summer Friday here and drop off at 1 instead. Summer
looks like the car stopped moving. So
you're gonna
see that? Like,
you're gonna tell us
we
where
arrived.
You are from.
That's right. We are at summer camp. It's theater camp, and so Friday afternoon is the performance. We're going to see what the full week performance was. But
right.
I'm going to share this conversation out, Maya, because I think there's so much packed in there about technology, the recommendations you mentioned, how you build these toolkits, customizing them. It brings up the whole question of where are we going to find the economics to actually drive the cost down? I mean, one of my things has been the real estate mortgage community has to do a better job telling sellers our cash is more reliable. So that when you're getting cash from a repeat player who's closing loans all day, every day, you should actually trust that more than the random all cash buyer who has to pull in their cash from every other account, talk to their accountant, talk to their broker, get all their accounts funded. If you're working with the groups you're talking about and loan officers that do this all day, every day, with real estate partners who do this all every day, sellers should actually start prioritizing that, I think, because that's more reliable than a random one-off, cash buyer. So hopefully we'll be able to change that trend and get some sellers like seeing the opportunity here too.
Yeah, I like that. I will say one thing I am is super positive for me is that there are a lot of, yes, there's a homeownership accessibility issue, but there are a lot of really smart minds behind coming up with a solution. So I'm super hopeful that there'll be many solutions to help super soon.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to drop off, but great to see you. Really good conversation on Real Fridays. Take care, Brock. Talk to you both soon.
Potter, too shy to talk his own book, but he also has a new podcast coming out every Monday as part of.
That's right.
I don't know if it's affiliated with Chrisman Media.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly who else is co-hosting. He's done a couple of different shows with different people, but for anyone that does end up listening to this and wants more Potter, because he only gives us a taste here, he now has his own show on Mondays that'll be going out over there. But yeah, Maya, what conferences and what does the rest of the next few months look like for you guys? Are you going to be out in the industry a lot? You've mostly focused on building the existing business. What's up?
Yeah, a little bit of both per usual, but I'm actually heading out Monday to HousingWire's AI one-day summit, which I'm super excited about. HousingWire just popping up all these conferences, these one-dayers, but I like the thought of, because we're getting so deep into AI, and I think it's such good timing now where it's not so new. There's been a lot of development around it, especially in this industry. I'm actually really, really pumped about seeing what has come to fruition already, what people are saying about it, what applications we're already seeing, and then, of course, what's happening in the future. But I think that'll be really exciting to bring a lot of folks together. And I think there's going to be, a lot of mortgage folks that I've talked to are going to be attending too. So.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be pretty well attended. I'm unfortunately going to miss that one. I think Adi, our founder, might go.
Nice.
But yeah, we were kind of late to the game on that one, but I've got a pretty full slate.
Yeah.
Are you
doing Inman?
Inman in 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
and then a couple different traveling for some of our board meetings and investor meetings the next few weeks after that. But then I'm going to do Acuma, the credit union conference,
Nice.
and a few other regional mortgage conferences. We're trying to put together a live Real Fridays panel. We're going to record it at Friday at a conference for the New England Mortgage Bankers Conference.
Nice.
Because Rick, Jeremy, and I all have ties in that New England market, and sometimes usually go to that event. So looking forward to that. Yeah, and then certainly MBA Annual will be a big one.
Yes.
Talking about how we want to play that. We may put on an event with some of our partners or something like that even. So
yeah.
Going a little bit bigger for that one. And I guess that's one of your home turfs back in Colorado.
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually really excited with it. Same. I think we're going to do something too. We're based out of Boulder, Zavvie officially, even though we're all spread out now. But yeah, so I think I'm going to throw a little something together. Maybe we should tag team on that perhaps. But yeah, I'm excited about it being in a place that I know and love super well. I'll be skipping in a couple weeks, but I'm sure I'll see you at the rest of the mortgage, on the conference trail.
Sounds good. Yeah, we should. I want to show you, since we won't be together at the AI Summit, I want to show you some of our consumer experience we built, where we're taking in a mix of MLS data and other real estate market data. It's not like a full home search experience. We're trying to make it more within the context of the transaction.
Sure.
So it's basically putting the buyer, and there's a seller version as well, but most of our business is buy side, putting the buyer into a journey. We think it's going to take you this many months. During this phase, here's the kind of data you need, and here's the kind of AI recommendations you need about what you should do, what's going on in that market. We have a ton of neighborhood trend data of what's exciting about the market you're looking in right now, what's changing about the market you're looking in right now, kind of insights level. And because we're seeing so many clients that we get a lot of business from our lenders that's ready to go and sales right through, they're ready to make an offer. But we get even more now, especially in this market with the affordability, affordability business we've been talking about, where it's going to take people 6-12 months to buy. And so lenders are you know, some of them are looking to us and requesting things. Some of them we're going to and showing them things. So it's been very collaborative, as B2B tends to get.
Cool.
But we're basically trying to expand these ecosystems so that the buyers don't have to leave and go to Zillow and find that information where they get another lender and another agent.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which is, by the way, a better experience for the consumer. I think that's what people forget is, I have this conversation often. The consumer doesn't want to be bounced around. I bought 2 homes. I don't want to be like told to call this person, and there's a new person. Now I'm here. Like, I want to go one place with someone I trust. So I think that's super smart. Is the goal of that to shorten that cycle?
It's really, you know, to shorten it for sure, but more to just keep it, you know, to give
it centralized.
Yeah, keep it smoother. Keep the client from having to go off all the platforms, right? If you think about like NewRez is an easy example. Like NewRez Home Rewards is what they branded the program as, and so it's powered by us, but it's fully branded to NewRez. It's fully, you know, looks like their experience, feels like their experience, and obviously the right disclaimers in the right places that it's our data. But you know what I mean. For the client's perspective, they're just getting everything. They're getting all kinds of real estate help and real estate info for the 6 months leading up to the transaction. Where in the past maybe they would have found someone else.
with the person and the brand that they trust, which is the same reason that we white label our product, right? It's like they don't want this outside company with 2 V's in its name coming in and saying like, yeah, we're gonna buy your home. The consumer's like, what? Who is this?
Yeah,
they want it to come from the same person.
A lot of Z's. For us, we got a Z in there too. Yeah. Yeah, we should collaborate on that. I think we're solving some of the same stuff, but maybe we can work together again a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep that conversation going for sure.
Appreciate you coming on here, and hopefully all the craziness of all the outages in the world today aren't logistics and travel and everything aren't affecting you too much.
Yeah, I'm happy I'm not flying today.
Yeah, I was right in the middle of, I'm going to Maine, going to York, Maine, Portsmouth, New Hampshire this weekend, which are like twin cities on the border. And it's about a 5-hour train ride, 4 to 5 hour drive, hour flight, true, but like then you have like the time in the airport. So it kind of like it's one of those things where it's all the same. It takes 5 hours however you do it. So luckily I'm driving. Or I would have just probably not be going to Maine this weekend.
Yeah, I know, man. I woke up to that like everyone else this morning. Was like, that's a little scary.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Brock. Bye.
See you later.